I'm going to talk about how to do partial fraction decomposition. And so I've kind of got the first few steps listed here. This is kind of the starting place. So the object here is to factor the denominator. You're welcome to factor the numerator too. Not really going to make a big difference here. So what we're going to do is we're going to factor this first part into two pieces. And I've chosen questions that will automatically do that for you, right? So you're not going to get things that have multiple pieces, more than just two. So factor it, and then what you're going to do is you're going to set the original equation with the factored denominator equal to a over the first factor plus b over the second factor. And don't worry about getting these factors in a particular order. It won't matter at all. Because you're adding here, the a and the b will be whatever. Just make sure that the correct number over x plus 4 and the correct number over x minus 1 happens. And that's not going to be really specific to your choices. So the goal here is to take this common denominator, and it's going to be that entire factored denominator that you started with. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with x plus 4 and x minus 1. And we're going to multiply that all the way down, x plus 4, x minus 1. If you do this enough times, you'll begin to recognize the patterns that happen. And you really don't need to do this complete step if you can kind of see that pattern and what usually cancels and how it kind of works out. Not a big deal if you add that. I'm just going to put it in here so that you can see exactly what really is happening. So now what we do is we're going to simplify each of these fractions and write it out such that we have no rational expression left. So here, obviously, those both cancel. The x plus 4 is going to cancel out. Here, the x minus 1 is going to cancel out. Now we're going to write what's the remaining equation. We're going to get 5x plus 5 equal to a times the remaining factor of x minus 1 plus b times x plus 4. Okay, now at this point, we kind of break this into two stages. We're going to be solving for the a and the b, and then at the end, we'll come back and write that in that factored form like we did originally. Okay, so I'm going to be choosing certain values of x such that I'm going to get the opposite variable to cancel out. And this is really easy. To find a, I'm going to look over here. I need to cancel b out. So what number do I need to pick for x so that the part in the parentheses here becomes 0? So we're going to pick -4. Right? So x is -4 for b, or for that case. For the other one, to cancel out and to find b, we need to cancel out a. So I need to pick a number in this parentheses that makes this part become 0, and that's going to be the number 1. Right? So we'll plug 1 in there. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do what I just said, and we're going to work it out and solve those little equations. So we're going to have 5 times -4 plus 5 equals a times -4 minus 1 plus b times -4 plus 4. Of course, that's going to go to 0, and if you know what you're doing, kind of skip that step. We're going to write what's left over here. So we're going to get -20 plus 5. That's going to give you -15 here. Equals -5a. Now we're going to divide by that -5, and we're just going to be solving this equation. And so that becomes 3 equals positive a. On the other side, we're going to solve that for b. We're going to plug that in for x. So we'll end up getting 5 times 1 plus 5 equals a times 1 minus 1, which is 0, plus b times 1 plus 4. So here we're going to get 10 equals 5b. We'll solve for b. Really quickly, we find out b is equal to 2. All right, at that point, what we can do is we can go back to our original form that we wrote down, the a over the factor plus b over the factor. I'm going to rewrite it like that. Except this time we're going to use the numbers for a and b. So we're going to be 3 over x plus 4 plus 2 over x minus 1. And that is the way that you basically unfactor the rational expression that we had. So this is kind of like finding common denominators and putting a fraction together. Well, this is just the opposite, where you take that fraction that you put together and you kind of pull it back apart. That's partial fraction decomposition.